of Java. Okay, so Java is famous because it is open source. It is community based. What next? Java supports different frameworks. Okay. Now, when it comes to framework, what I mean by frameworks, see, there are lots of applications which are built on Java, right? Example, if you can make a mobile application, you can make enterprise application, you can make websites, you can make an application using for database, right? So there are different uses. There are different ways we can use Java. So I don't know why I heard a bomb blast here. There's some blast in my area. That's weird. Okay. Come back. I was talking about, yeah. So we can use Java in multiple places, right? We can use it in different things. If you're working with Java for databases, we need different framework to work with database. If you're working with Java for websites, we use different framework to work with websites. So framework is a set of libraries, a set of rules you can follow to make a better applications. So just to name those frameworks, we have frameworks like Spring framework, we have framework like Hibernate, we have framework like Sturts, then we have, okay, there are lots of frameworks available. These are something which is well-known frameworks. So after this course, let's say if you're completing core Java concepts, now after core Java, we can learn lots of stuff, right? We can go for websites, we can go for big data, we can go for mobile development, we can go for testing. So for different type of course ahead, we'll be having different type of frameworks to work with. Okay, those are frameworks. Then Java works on JVM. Now, why we need a JVM? So in okay, have you done with the history of Java? In 1969, Ken Thompson came up with Unix, and then Dennis Ritchie came up with C, Vijay Strastrup came up with C++, and then in 1991, we have done with this history, right? In the first session. Okay, so Hema, I will be sending you the link for the first session, which we have covered. I mean, we have not covered much. We have only talked about the basics. And yeah, so in 1995, when Java was launched, what the advantage what Java had is other languages, they work on hardware. Java works on software. So if we talk about C and C++, they directly work on the hardware. But Java works on a software level. So on your hardware, you'll be having OS, and OS will have a JVM, and JVM will have other applications. So your applications works on JVM, and the industry loves JVM. In fact, everyone loves JVM. Java is fun, of course. Java is, I mean, it's fun to learn Java. The concepts of Java are amazing. Then Java doesn't support pointers. In fact, people coming from C++ background, they hate pointers. In fact, trust me, how many of you learned C++ before this Java course? How many of you know C++? Okay. Okay, so Sumit knows about C++. What about others? Vijay knows C++. Yeah, so in C++, we used to have pointers, right? And everybody used to hate pointers. You know, the first thing is we have single pointer, and then after that, we also have a double pointers. We have pointers of pointers. Weird concepts, right? And pointers are a bit risky. So if you're making an application using pointers and some other applications which supports pointer, they can hack your data. Because there's a risk with pointers. So Java says, okay, we don't want any concept of pointers here. So Java has removed pointers. Next, Java is simple. Java is very simple to learn. Okay, see, Java is, people say, if I have seen people, they hate Java. I mean, I've also seen people who love Java, but I have seen people who hate Java. They say Java is not simple. See, there's something called as simple, and there's something called difficult, and there's something called as unfamiliar. Java is unfamiliar programming. It is not difficult. Okay, it is simple. It is just you are not familiar with it. Once you get familiar with Java, it is very easy. Okay. The other languages which are simple, which look simple initially, but later on when you try to debug the application, example Python, it looks very easy. So when you start learning Python programming, it is very easy. But later when you start to make applications using Python, when you want to try to debug it, it's horrible. Okay, so Java is simple. Initially, you will find it difficult, but trust me, once you know the crux of all the concepts, it is damn easy. Then Java has IDE. Now, IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. So when we talk about Java IDEs, we have Eclipse, we have NetBeans, so we have certain different IDEs available for Java, and we'll be using Eclipse in this course. And Java is multi-platform. That means you can run Java application on any platform, maybe Windows, Linux, or Macintosh. It doesn't matter. Think about .NET applications. It only works on Microsoft Windows. And what about applications which are built in C? So what happens is when you make an application in C, it will work on all the platforms. But the problem is the moment you type a C code. Okay, before that, I'm audible, right, everyone, without any audio lag there? I don't want to make any fool of me. I'm talking a lot and then you're not able to hear it properly. So I hope there's no audio problem there on your side.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's perfect, right? Okay, so I was talking about what? I forgot the point. Yeah, so when you make an application in C programming, so if you want to compile the code for one machine, so let's say let's say in my machine, the current machine which I'm working on, so let's say if I type a C programming here or C program here, and then when I want to use it, I have to compile it, right? So every programming, you need to first type it and then you have to compile it. So when you compile a C code in this machine, it will, so later on it will give me the exe file, and that exe file will only work on this machine. If I try to copy that exe file, if I go to other machine, that exe file will not work. It's because C programming is platform dependent. Same goes with C++. If you write a C++ code and when you compile it, that exe file will only work on this machine. It will not work on other machines, because C and C++, they're hardware dependent. What Java says, if you compile a Java file on one machine, you can run the same Java file on other machines. Yeah, hi, Jimal. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Is it? Hey, Jimal, I'm audible there?
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, hi. So in this batch, let me introduce. Hey, so have you introduced yourself? Because we'll be spending 1 month together. I guess we have Atul here. Atul from Mumbai. We have Hema from US now. And we have Jamal. You're from US, right, Jamal? And I hope
Yes, I'm from.
I hope I'm pronouncing the right name, Jamal.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, Jamal. You're right. Yeah.
Jamal, it's Jamal. Okay. And then we have Varuna. Varuna is, she's like using the account of his husband. Her husband, and his name is Raghav. And we have Sumit. We have Videsh. And we have Vijaya.
All right.
Everyone. So if you want to, if you want to talk to others, you can ask your doubts to others. In fact, I was thinking about creating a group where we can actually interact. If you have any queries, because later on we'll be working on a project, and during project I will be creating a team of 2 people. Right. So let me know if you are interested. We can make a group of people so that we can interact.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jamal, welcome back to these sessions. And we have just started with the topic. So time being, you can mute yourself. If you have any questions, you can just pop it up and you can ask the question. Or you can also use the chat window to ask questions.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Okay, great.
Sure.
Okay, so let me go back to the multi-platform. So if you run Java application on one machine, it will work on all the platforms. Now, how it works? So this is something you can define how Java works. So let's say if you want to run Java application, so you already got a Java application and now you want to run it. Okay, you're not coding any application, you're using the application. So how do we run an application? So whenever you get an application in Java, you normally get dot class files. So whenever you get any applications in Java or any application, let's say if you download a pre-built software in Java, what you will get is the class files. Okay, so normally in Windows world we use .exe, right? So whenever you want to download any application for Windows, we use .exe, and for Linux OS we use .deb, right, guys? So when you download any application for Windows, we use .exe files, right? Yeah, and for Linux we use .deb file. But when it comes to Java, we download something called as .jar files. So for Java we use jar files. Okay, so for Windows we use exes. Uh, for Linux we use .deb. But any application which is built using Java, we normally use jar files. Now, what is jar? Jar stands for Java archive. Okay, so Java we create jar files. Now, what is jar file will have is, if you jar file is like a rar file. Everyone knows about rar file, right? The zip files. Now, if you unzip a jar file, so jar file is like a rar file, but if you unzip a jar files, you will get all class files. Let me repeat. When you unzip your jar files, you will get a class file, dot class files. So, so let's say if you have a rar file, a zip file. When you unzip a zip file, you will get all documents, right? Example, if I want to send 5 files to you, and what I will do is I will zip those files. Let's say all our document files, .doc files, and I will zip it and I will send it to you, right? What you will do, you will unzip it. But in Java world, what we do as a developer, what I will do, I will create lots of class files, and I will zip those class files, and I will give you those class files in a .jar file format. So the ultimate file name will be called as, let's say, naveen.jar. So it's not be rad, it not be zip, it will be naveen.jar. Okay, so your jar file will have all the class files. So if you have a class file, to run the class file, see, to run exe we need Windows machine, right? You cannot run exe files on Ubuntu. I hope everyone knows about the Linux version Ubuntu, right? Yeah. So when you cannot run a exe file on Ubuntu, and you cannot run a deb file on Windows. So on Windows we can only use exe, and on Linux we can only use deb or other file formats. But jar file is something which you can run on any platform, and that's the awesomeness about Java. If you have a jar file, it will work on all the machine. It may be Windows, Linux, or Mac, provided that machine has JVM. Make sense, everyone? So you can run a jar file only in those machines which has JVM. But question arises, let's say I don't have a class file now. As a developer, I want to create an application. So when you want to create an application, you have to first type a .java file. Example, if you want to create a C programming file, you will use .c. Example, you will say demo.c. When it comes to C++, we use .cpp. And when we use Java programming, we have to say .java. So whenever you type any code, we have to say .java. And that Java file needs to be converted into class files. So whenever you type any Java code, you have to convert that Java file into a class file. And that is possible with the help of Java C. And Java C stands for Java compiler. Let me repeat. Whenever you want to type a code, you have to type a Java code and you have to compile it. The way you can compile that is with the help of Java C compiler. And then what you will get is .class. Okay, everyone? I just need to check with everyone. Anyone you have done with the programming stuff, right, before? C, C++. Anyone who is new to programming, doing the Java for the first time, or any language for the first time? I mean, learning programming for the first time. Anyone there? Okay, so Hema, you have done with the basic programming, right? Which programming you're familiar with? And Jamal, what about you? Varuna? Oh, Jamal, you already done with Java? Oh, Hema, you're done with C, C++, Java, all. Okay, and what about you, Jamal, Varuna, Sumit, Videsh, Vijaya? Okay, you're all done with. Okay, so Varuna done with C, only C programming. Jamal done with C++ and Java. Okay, that's great. So you people are done with Java, then why are you joining this course? Why was the logic of joining this course? Revision. Okay, in college. Okay. What about you, Hema, Jamal, Varuna, Sumit for the first time
I
ever in
did
Java?
masters in 2003, so I got a long gap. So
Okay,
um,
so you forgot all the you have to revise all the concepts, right?
yeah.
Okay, okay. So what about you, Jamal? How much time it had? What's the reason joining this course? Okay, I don't know. Jamal is here or not now. What about you, Varuna? Okay, you have done the project in Java. Okay, you want to do a project now. Okay, great. Okay, so everyone knows about the basic programming, right? So that makes my work more easier. So okay, so let me just continue now. So when you type any Java code, the first step you do is you have to compile the files, right? Why you need to compile? Because uh, the code you will be getting, the code you will be typing will not be understood by your JVM. Okay, so what happens is your JVM is someone who will run your code, right? So JVM is someone which will provide all the resources which you need. So JVM is a platform where you can run your Java code. But the problem is JVM doesn't understand Java code. JVM understand only class files. And those class files are also called as bytecode. So JVM understands only bytecode, nothing else. Okay, so you have to type a Java code so that you can compile it to get a .class file, and you can run that .class files on any platform. Now, so is it only JVM is enough? To run the application, we can use JVM, right? But to type the application, when you want to write a code and when you want to compile the code, you need JDK. Okay, now, so just to explain this concept, think about, okay, to compile a Java file, you need Javac, right? And for Javac will belong to JDK. By default, in your Windows, you will be having JVM, but by default, you will not be having JDK. So you have to install JDK from the Oracle website. And if you install JDK, you will get Javac, which is Java compiler. So JDK and JVM make sense, right? So JVM is something where you can run the application, and JDK is something where you can compile your applications. But then why we need a JRE there? When you have JVM, when you have JDK, why do we need JRE at the first place? Now think about this. So let me ask a question to you, Videsh. Videsh, let's say if I want to cook something, or let's say I want to cook a biryani. Jamal, I hope you know biryani because you're the only non-Indian here. Uh, so, so you know biryani, Jamal? What is biryani means? I don't know if you eat biryani there. Okay, it's a special dish we like in India. It's made up of rice, non-veg or veg, depend upon your preference. Special type of rice, biryani. So let's say, Videsh, you there? So Videsh, let's say you want to cook biryani, what you will do? Where you will cook biryani? When in your kitchen, of course, right? Not in a hall. Now, can we cook something in hall? Or in bedroom? Is it possible? Why not? Why we cannot cook in bedroom? Okay, you're thinking about that. Why we cannot cook? Come on, Videsh. Easy question. Why we cannot cook in bedroom? What is the issue when we cook in bedroom? See, to cook something, exactly right. We need infrastructure. So to cook something, we know that we need that. We need a micro. I mean, we need a oven, or we need. I mean, we need a device where you can get the heat, right? So we need a device where you can get the heat. Then what else we require? We need water. We need all those stuff, right? And so all this, so the platform where you can cook. So kitchen will act like a platform where you can cook, right? So the platform here, the kitchen here is JVM. So JVM is a kitchen. But to cook something, we need special resources, right? We need some masala and all the stuff. Jamal, I hope you know cooking, right, Jamal? Because others I can understand, they have done with they know what I'm talking about. They know it is biryani. But let's say if you want to cook something, you need a platform where you can cook, right? But you also need some extra stuff. Yeah, you do cooking, but you don't cook biryani, right? Just after this session, just go to YouTube and search for the recipe of biryani and try it once. You will love it. Okay, let me just type it for you. It's biryani. Okay, I don't cook, but I love to eat. Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So we need some ingredients, right? We need some extra ingredients, and those things will be available in shelf. So there will be a shelf in your kitchen where you will find all the resources, and that area is JRE. So when you run the application, your application runs on JVM, but your application may need some extra resources, and those resources will be coming from JRE. So let me repeat. To run the application, we need a platform, and that platform is JVM. But to run the application, we need some extra resources, some ingredients to work with, and those ingredients will be coming from JRE. Okay, everyone got the idea why we have JVM and JRE, two separate entity? Yeah, and now question is what is the full form of JRE? So that's our next slide. So we have the first thing, which is JVM. So JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. So it's a machine which will act like a physical machine, but that's not a physical machine, that's a virtual machine. So on that machine we can run Java applications. To run the Java, I mean to compile the Java code, we need Java compiler, and that will be bundled in JDK. JDK stands for Java Development Kit. Then we'll be having JRE, which is Java Runtime Environment. So it will provide an environment where you can run your Java application. So again, your machine will act like a platform, and your JRE will act like an extra resources provider or resource provider. Make sense, everyone? Okay. And just to remind you, from the next week, so from this week we'll be only talking about the concepts, and I will give you some assignment. Next week, Monday, the first Monday after this, I will be giving you a problem statement, okay, a project. So I'm expecting that two people will work on one project. So is that fine with you, working with other people, or you want to do it individually? What is your preference? Okay, so Atul prefers individually. What about others? Yeah, that's the whole idea. Normally what happens is when you work in a project in corporate, there they prefer to work in teams, right? And if you have this habit of working in team, that will be helpful for you in the projects in their projects. So my idea of working in team is just to teach you how to interact with people, from different locations, right? That's very helpful, I feel. Because you're very good when you work individually, but as soon as you start working in team, there might be conflicts, there might be different ideas to implement it, because I will not give you how to build it, I will give you what I need. So as a client, I will give you my requirement. You have to figure it out what I need, and how to solve it. Because I feel, there's a difference between a programmer and a coder. So there's a difference between a programmer and a person who codes. So example, if I give you a question to find a given number is a factorial, or to find a given number is a prime number or not, you know the logic, right? So what you will do is you will just code it. So that becomes a coding part. But what exactly programming means for me is you'll be getting a statement, you will be getting a problem statement, and you don't know how to solve it. Okay, and you will try to figure it out what is the actual problem. You will try to find the flow of you will find the flow of the software and everything, start to end. It's not just about Java, it's about how to build an application in Java. Okay, so that's my idea of having this project. So I'm not expecting from you that you have to complete the project. Okay, that's not my whole idea. We are not competing with anyone here. So that's not my whole idea of completing the project. My whole idea is just to explain you how to start the project in Java, because you might have done projects in different languages. I don't know how many of you have worked on the project before. Anyone worked on project before? Any software project in team or individually? Okay, that's awesome. That means this is the first time you'll be working on team. So how it works is okay, only graduation project, right? So let's say if I give you a real-time scenario, let's say I want a particular application. So again, the statement I will be giving you next week, because I have to figure it out yet. I'm still working on the problem statement because I want to give you something which is better. And I'm trying this for the first time in any batch. Okay, before this I have not tried with the project, but this batch I thought about of starting the project because learning is not enough. I think having hands-on experience will give you better benefits, right? So what I will give you is I will give you a problem statement. Even I don't know, to be honest. I will not know how to solve that problem. How to solve that problem? Okay. What I will give you is a problem statement which regularly we are facing, and what is your job is to understand the problem, because we are magicians, right? We are programmers, and programmers, trust me, programmers are magicians. In fact, in the last session, I have talked about the concept of alien. Okay, let me just verify. Have we talked about the concept of aliens, everyone? Yeah. So Jamal and Hema, this is I guess this is new for you. Uh, for See, my trainees, okay, so my trainees will be always called as aliens. It's because we are not humans. I mean, we are humans physically we are humans, okay, but when you talk about thinking level, the way we should think is like aliens, because we live in real world. Okay, so we have two different worlds. We have real world and virtual world. So we live in real world, but the way we think should be always in virtual world. Example, uh, why we need that is because when you talk about softwares only works in virtual world. Okay, and we are trying to solve real world issues with the help of virtual world technologies. So what we are doing is we are trying to solve real world issues with the help of virtual world technologies. So we have to always think in virtual world. Example, let's say 10 years back, if I want to take a cab, okay, so I have to go on the street. I have to I have to show my hands to stop a cab, right? But now you can take out your phone, and now you can book a cab on the particular timing. Let's say you have half an hour to leave your home, so you can book a cab half an hour before, right? Using Uber app, using yeah, there are different services we have now. In India, we have Uber, we have Ola. I guess in US they have Uber, right? Yeah. So what is Uber application? It's a virtual world solution for the real world issues, right? So we are responsible to do that. So we create those solutions for the virtual world. So we are solving a real world issues with the help of virtual world technologies. Make sense what I'm talking about? I mean, I hope I'm able to convey my message there. What we are doing, we are trying to solve real world issues using virtual world technologies. right? And that's why we have to always think in virtual world. And people who thinks in virtual world are called as aliens. I mean, for me at least, that's my theory. I have to write my own thesis now. Okay. So I hope everyone is comfortable if I call you alien. Okay. That's great. So since we are aliens now, so what is our job is to understand a real statement. Okay. So when I say I will give you a problem statement, even I don't know how to solve it. So I will give you a statement as alien. It is your responsibility to find out the solution. Again, we'll be making multiple groups here, even if you are working in team. So I guess we have 6 people in the team now. So we have Atul, Hema, Jamal, Varuna, Sumit, Videsh, and Vijaya. So we'll be having 2 teams. One team will have 3. Again, Hema is not sure. So if Hema is joining this batch, so she will be part of this team. Otherwise, Hema, if you join the evening batch, you'll be part of evening team. But anyway, so we'll be making a group of 2 or 3 people, and I will be giving you a problem statement, and based on those problem statement, you have to come up with a solution. Here we got one more guy. Who's that? No one. Atul, you're joining with 2 machines. Okay. Where was I? I was talking about what? Yeah, I forgot the point. What I'm talking about. You know, Yeah, no issue. Yeah, group. So I will be making a group. Sorry, I will be giving you a problem statement, and you have to figure it out the solution for that. It will not be easy. Trust me, it will not be easy. But once you come up with a solution, the confidence you'll be having, it will be different from the confidence you'll have after the course. I mean, if you only complete the course, that will give you different confidence. But if you complete with the project, trust me, it will give you a different confidence. Once you join a company, when you go for the interviews, or if when you work on the Java project, you'll be having a different confidence or different level of confidence. So that's the whole idea about this project. So yeah, so I will give you the, I mean, I will distribute the project. So you can choose the team, or I will choose the team for you, which team you will be in. So that we'll be doing next Monday. I mean the coming Monday, exactly 1 week. Okay, everyone. Okay, so let me just go back to the things we're talking about. So we have JDK, JRM, JRE, and JVM. Now what next? So JVM is a machine who is responsible to execute bytecode. Okay, I hate theory part. Let me just skip this. We'll talk about this once we start with the implementation. Yeah, then we have different IDEs. Now what exactly IDEs mean? Now when you talk about Java programming, what we have to do is, first we have to write a code, right? The first step what we do is we write code. The next step what we do is we compile the codes. So step 1, we have to type the code. Step 2, we have to compile the codes. And step 3, we have to run the code, right? Now what happens is, if you don't have IDE, you have to type the code in Notepad. Then you have to compile the code using Javac that works on command prompt, and you have to run the code on command prompt. So everything will be done on Notepad and command prompt. And it is not that comfortable to work on command prompts. So what we do is we use a software which has all the things. A software where you can type the code, a software where you can run the code, a software where you can actually debug your application. So it's one big tool where you can get everything: the compiler, debugger, the output window, everything. And that something is called as IDE, which stands for Integrated Development Environment. So there are different IDEs available. We have Eclipse, we have NetBeans, we have JCreator, we have Processing, we have BlueJ, MyEclipse, and JDeveloper. One of the best IDE which I have not mentioned here is IntelliJ. So one of the best IDE is IntelliJ. I don't know how many of you heard about it. So which IDE you're comfortable with? I mean, before this session or before this thing, Any IDE you worked with before? Okay, so you're familiar with Eclipse. Great. Everyone is familiar with Eclipse, right? But if you, so no one has used IntelliJ, right? What if I say IntelliJ is much better than Eclipse? So try it once. After this session, you can also download IntelliJ. But the problem is to use IntelliJ, it comes in two versions. One is community version and second is enterprise version. And community version is free. Enterprise version you have to pay. It is around $400 per year. So when you want to use IntelliJ, you have to pay $400 per year. Okay, and that's why we don't use IntelliJ. Even if it is best, we don't use it because we want to use softwares for free, right? But once you join a company, and there are some companies who only use IntelliJ, so they ask their developers to start learning IntelliJ. Again, the license cost will be taken care by the companies. You don't have to buy IntelliJ when you work for a company there, but it's good to have the knowledge of IntelliJ also. So how can you learn IntelliJ? So go to Google and download IntelliJ software. It looks something like this. Let me open the IntelliJ software. So you can download IntelliJ software, and then later on you can, um, you can try your hands on it, because once you know Eclipse, learning IntelliJ will be very easy. Okay, so one of the best IDEs is IntelliJ. Second is Eclipse, of course. Second one is Eclipse. Then the next one is NetBeans. I don't know who uses all the softwares now, but the industry-wise, it is IntelliJ. Then we have Eclipse. Okay, so I've opened IntelliJ on my machine. Let me just share the screen of IntelliJ with you, just to show you the glimpse how it looks. So it is IntelliJ. IntelliJ. It's here. Okay, can you see the screen of IntelliJ now, everyone? Okay, so this software is IntelliJ software. It looks like Eclipse, almost same. In fact, it also looks like Eclipse. Sorry, NetBeans. So if you have worked on NetBeans before, it looks like looks exactly same. The difference is IntelliJ is more smart. Okay, it is. If you see the suggestions, example, if I want uh, if I want to print something, let's say, okay, can you see that? If you want public static void main in your code, you just have to say psvm tab. It will give you public static void main, which is not possible in Eclipse, right? So there are lots of shortcuts available. There are lots of different tools available in IntelliJ. In fact, I'm not that good with IntelliJ. I've not done lots of stuff here. But the latest version of IntelliJ is 15th version, and the update version is 6. So you can download that. Okay, not compulsory. If you are interested, don't only do it. Let me go back to the PPT things. Okay. Now what next? Next is OOPS concept. Now we'll talk about OOPS concept when we start with some programming stuff. Let me just go back to the Eclipse, and we'll start our first code today. Hey, where is Eclipse? It's here. Okay, so this window which you can see now, it is Eclipse. Okay, so the left section, it is your project explorer where you can create your projects, and the right side we don't need that. Let me just minimize that. So this is the area where you can create your projects, and this is the area, the mid area where you can type your code. And just to inform you, two batches are running in parallel, right? The evening batch, I have named that batch as Amazon batch, and this batch I have named as Neon batch. So happy with the name? So this batch name is Neon batch. Okay, so yeah, yeah, that's it. Okay, so this is Eclipse where which you have. Hold on, something is popping up. Okay, so this is Eclipse. Now, how to use Eclipse? The first thing you have to do is you have to create a project. So I click on the Project Explorer and say New and create a application. Now there you can see there are different type of applications we can make. So if I go to others, you can see that we have a whole Walmart of projects here, right? So you can create a normal project, you can create a EJB project, you can create a Hibernate project. So I was talking about some frameworks, right? So Hibernate is one of the framework to work with. Then we can create a JBoss application, we can create a Maven project, we can create a blah, blah, blah. We have lots of projects. But since we are beginners to this, we'll create a Java project. We'll say Java project next. Now next it will ask you for the name. And you can specify any project name. I mean, any project name. Let's say this is demo application, demo app. Okay. Now the current version of Java which we are working with is Java 8. Okay. Now people who already know Java, see what has happened is Java has done. I mean, they came up with lots of versions, right? Let me just talk about that. It's a new file. Notes. Okay, so Java, they came up with lots of version, right? So the initial version was 1.0, and 1.0 version was very simple. In fact, the founder of Java, James Gosling, when they came up with, I mean, the group of people led by James Gosling. So James Gosling is the father of Java. So when they came up with Java, Java was very easy. It was having only limited concepts. But later, what it did is they came up with they have enhanced the features. So Java came up with 1.1 and then 1.2. So when it was 1.5, the latest, I mean, it was year 2002, I guess, or 2008, I guess, 1.5. So when they came up with 1.5 concept, in the interview, I mean, in one of the talk, James Gosling was talking about Java, and someone has asked him, how much Java you know now? And come on, yeah, he's the founder of Java, and you're asking him how much Java you know. And to seriously, he told that, I know only 10% of Java. So what has happened? He's a father of Java, right? And he only knows about 10% of Java. It's because when he came up with Java concept, it was only some features. And later on, this community of Java, they added lots of features. And with every version of Java, we get lots and lots of features. So if you have learned Java 1.2 and the latest version, which is Java 1. It has lots of features. 1.2 will have only 20% of features which you have now. Then so 1.2 was a major release. 1.1 was like a normal release, but 1.2 was a major release. Then came up with 1.3 normal release, 1.4 was normal release. Then 1.5 has changed the way you write programs in Java. Okay, so it was again a major release. So now people who know 1.4 and they don't know 1.5, it was compulsory for them at that time to upgrade their skills. Okay, because Java 1.5 was having lots of extra stuff. Yeah, if you know 1.3 and the company is working on 1.4, that's okay, because 1.4 was not having any major updates, but 1.5 was having lots of updates. 1.6 was again a minor release. 1.7 was the next major release. We got some extra concept in 1.7. I cannot say it's a major release, but I can say this is what do you say, mini major release. What this was not exactly a major release, but there was some extra features. But now 1.8 is the, what do you say, this was like a rocket release. What I mean by rocket release is something very different. 1.8 concepts has changed everything about Java. Let me give you one example. Everyone knows Java here, right? I mean, some of the other way, except Sumit. So I have a question for everyone. Come on, guys, reply something. You know Java, right? A bit of Java. Okay, so question is, I mean, we have a topic in ahead which is called as interfaces, right? So most of them are familiar with interfaces, right? Hema, Jamal, Varuna. Okay, great. So in interfaces, we can only declare methods, right? We cannot define methods, right? We can only declare it. We cannot define it. I mean, we can only give semicolon at the end. Everyone? Okay, perfect. So in Java 1.7, I mean, till Java 1.7, it was so interfaces can only have abstract methods. But in Java 1.8, everything has changed. In interface, we can define methods now. That sounds weird, I know, but interface can also have methods now. You can define methods in interface. So Java 1.8 is very, very different from normal Java. Okay, and luckily there are not lots of companies who have shifted to Java 1.8, but in next 6 months, every company is planning to upgrade their Java from 1.7 to 1.8. So after 6 months, if we talk about the market, everyone will ask for 1.8 people. Okay, no one want a Java person who knows only 1.7. Okay, everyone got the point? What I'm trying to convey? Yeah. So 1.8 has lots of extra features, which was not there in 1.7, and I'm very excited about that. I'm waiting for the time where I will teach you 1.8, but unfortunately before that I have to teach you all those Java concepts, right? So yeah, so I'm waiting for that day. Yeah, you're lucky, Sumit. Okay. In fact, I was so excited about. Do you know why Java came up with 1.8? Why they have changed everything? Anyone? Why they came up with those weird concepts? And it is obvious, right? Example, if you are a Java developer and if you're working on 1.7, and then Oracle says, "Hey, hold on, guys, now we have to start with Java 1.8," and this guy who knows Java 1.7, when he looked at 1.8, it was annoying, right? I mean, in interface we cannot define methods, and then Java 1.8 says you have to define methods now, and that sounds weird. The problem was languages, they compete with each other. Example, Java is competing with Scala is competing with Haskell. So there are lots of languages they are trying to compete. I mean, not language, but the people who support those languages. Example, I support Java. So whenever we have a debate which is better, so I prove my point by saying Java has this feature, Java has that feature. So what happened is in 2012, everyone started moving towards big data concepts, right? And to work with big data concepts, we need a concept called as Hadoop. So to work with big data, it needs some special type of programming. Everyone knows about big data, right? Yeah, so big data needs some special type of programming. And for that, Scala is a language. Scala is also a language which was having more features than Java. So Scala was having some features using which you can work with this huge amount of data. So Java was not having those features. So Java 1.7 was not having that features. So in year 2013, there were lots of developers who wanted to shift to Scala. So they were leaving Java and they started moving to Java. Sorry, they started moving to Scala. So Java people, they felt insecure. If you know Java, then maybe your market is going to Scala. Then in Java 1.8, what they did is they copied all the concepts of Scala, and they have taken all the concept and they've copied they've taken that into Java. So now Java has all the features, Java features plus Scala features. So that's a major release 1.8. So for the companies who are moving towards big data, they have to use Java 1.8. Got the idea, guys? Okay. So now let's write our first code in Java. Let me just go back to Eclipse. So we'll be talking about 1.8 later. Let me just start with the first code. Now, how do you create a file? How do you create a file in Java? So for that, we have to right click on the project, and you can say new. We have to say class. Okay. Unfortunately, you cannot see that. Uh, okay, that's weird. The problem is when you share the screen using Hangout, it doesn't shows the pop-ups. Okay, so let me just repeat this step what I have done. Can you see the project on the left side, demo app? You have to right click on the project, and it will give you a option of new. Then when you get the option of new, you have to select Java class. Okay, and we have to enter the project name, file name. We'll say this is, let me just enter the file name as first code, and I'm also specifying what type of files I need. Okay, this is the file we got. Okay, so this is the syntax we have to work with. Again, later on we'll talk about why we have this type of syntax in Java. And this is weird, right? Because in C programming, the syntax is simply main method, main function, right? We write main function and we continue with that. In C++ also we write main function. But in Java, we have to write public, static, void, main, 4 words, right? I mean, everyone hates this. Trust me, when wherever I go. Okay, basically, people who would do, if you don't know, I don't know if I've introduced myself. I'm a corporate trainer, so I go to different companies for training. So I'm a consultant. I design the syllabus. I design the curriculum for the corporate. So let's say if you join any company in future, or if you're working for a company, so you might be knowing about induction batches, right? So when people get hired, it is my job to train them. So when I go for different companies like JP Morgan, Accenture, so these are the major companies where I go for the training. So there, when I start with the sessions, when I say publish static void main, everyone they get this what do you say, a shock, why we need those 4 words. Okay, so but basically just imagine that whenever you want to type Java code, it is there. Again, we'll talk about that later, why we need static keyword, why we need void method, why we need void, why we need main, but it is there. We have those 4 words. Okay, now what I want to do now is, now whenever you start with any programming language, doesn't matter is it C, C++, C sharp, or Java, the first code which we write is always hello world, right? So the first code which we write is always hello world. Now, why hello world? Why not the other other codes? It's because hello world is the simplest code, and if you can run hello world in your desktop, that means your setup is working at least, so that you can focus on remaining stuff. So what I will do now is I will print hello world. Now the way you can print hello world is, in double quotes you have to mention hello world. Okay, so in double quotes you have to mention hello world. But the problem is Java is purely based on object oriented concepts. Okay, so Java is purely based on object oriented concepts, which simply means if you want to achieve anything, let me repeat, if you want to achieve anything in Java, we need to use something called as methods. So when you want to achieve anything in Java, or to be specific, we don't need methods. So to achieve anything in Java, we need objects. Okay, that double slash means comment. So anything which you write after that double slash becomes a comment. So to achieve anything in Java, we need objects. Now, why we need object concept? Because let's say if you want to call someone, we need phone, right? So phone is your object. If you want to type something on your laptop, if you want to send a mail, you need a laptop. When you want to type a code, you need a laptop, right? So laptop is an object. So if you want to do anything, if you want to achieve anything, we need objects. Now, object will have two things. Object will have spelling of behavior. That's weird. Is it right? This is US English. Let me just remove that. Okay. So yeah. So when you talk about objects, it has properties and it has behavior. It's been a long time. I have not heard anything from you. You're there? Alive, everyone? I just hope you know these online sessions are not boring. Because classroom sessions are not boring, right? Because you can see me there. I don't know how is the experience of with online sessions, but let me know if you're getting bored. Because that's my basic idea. Whenever I teach, I make sure that people are not getting bored. Is because for me, learning is more about fun. If you're getting bored, that means you're not learning. So let me know once you feel once you're getting bored. Okay, so we have objects will have properties and object will have behavior. Okay, so object will have two things, properties and behaviors. Now, when it comes to properties, example, think about a pen. So a pen will have some properties, right? So the shape of the pen, and everyone knows how pen looks like, right? So when I say pen, there is a imaginary thing which comes to your mind. You can imagine the shape of a pen, the way it will look like, the way we have to use it, right? Everyone. So pen has a properties. Pen also has a behavior. So what is the main use of pen? To write something, right? So to write something, we need a pen, right? So the behavior of a pen is to write something. So to object will have a property and object will have a behavior. Now we can achieve properties with the help of variables, and we can achieve the behavior with the help of methods. If you want to achieve anything in Java, we have to use methods. Okay, everyone? Now what are methods? People are coming from C++ background. The functions in C, C++, they are called as methods here. Okay. Now question arises, how to print hello world? To print, we need method, right? To print something, that means we want some behavior. To print something, we need a method. And the method name is print itself. And whenever you use any method, let me repeat, whenever you use any method, we have to use those round brackets. So we use this round brackets to define that we are working with methods. Okay. Now question arises, this is a method, right? And method are always there with objects. So if you want to use a method, we need to use an object. But there are two things. Example, let's say you want to write something, what you need. Everyone, you want to write something, what you need? A pen, right? Of course. Perfect. So now to write something, you need a pen. So will you make a pen by yourself or will you buy a pen? Will you make a pen by yourself or will you buy a pen? Of course you will buy it, right? But let's say if you don't have a choice of buying a pen, then you have to make it by yourself. Sumit will borrow. Okay. You know, this is what we do in colleges, right? When you go to college, we never carry a pen. There's always someone in your college who is always bringing 2 or 3 pens. We'll borrow the pen from them. Okay, so yeah, so let's say, okay, let me just remove that feature of borrowing a pen. Let's say we have only two options. Either you have to buy a pen or you have to okay, ठीक है, let's also make it borrow a pen. So either you can borrow a pen or you can make a pen, right? So if you cannot borrow a pen, you have to make it. But if I'm giving you a choice of borrowing a pen, then why you have to make it? So what you can do is, to use this print method, we need object, right? So we don't have to create an object. We can use the object. So out is the inbuilt object in Java. Again, there are lots of objects available in Java. So if you want your own behavior, you have to create your own object. But if you want a behavior which is there in Java, we can use the pre-built object. So out is the object, print is the method. So whenever you want to use a method, we need to use objects. So whenever you want to use a method, we need to use object. So out is the object and print is the method. But the question arises, when you say out is the object, then it should be residing somewhere, right? It should not be in open space. It should be residing somewhere. So object, where it stays is, object is the, sorry, what I'm talking about. Out is the object which resides in a class called a system. So system is a class, out is the object which is there inside system class, and print is the method. So next time when you want to print something in Java, we have to write system.out.print. Okay, everyone? So next time when you want to write something, when you want to print something, we have to say system.out.print. So what is system there? It's a class. What is out is the object. And then we have print, which is a method. And now how to run this? Right click on the project. I'm going to right click here and say run as, you can't see that, right? You can just simply click on the play button there. Can you see that play button here? I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so just click on the play button. It will ask you for, okay, if you click on the play button, it will compile your code and it will give you the output as hello world. So if you are getting the output as hello world, that means your Eclipse and your JDK is working. And now we can focus on some advanced programming. Okay, everyone? So got the idea how to create, how to use Eclipse? I mean, of course, everyone was knowing it anyway. So initially, for at least for first 3 sessions or 4 sessions, will go slow because I want to make sure that everyone is on the same page. Now, once we are done with the basic concepts, then we can pace up. Okay, and again, the pace will depend upon your speed. Let me know if you're finding it a bit slow. If you're finding it a bit fast, let me know. And there's one more thing. After every session, or I would suggest you to send me a feedback of the session, how it is going, things which you need to, which you want me to add, things which you want me to remove from the session. Okay, so if you have any suggestions, you can let me know. You can send me a mail after this session. And this video will be available on the YouTube. I will share the link with you. So this session is been recorded on YouTube, and this session will be available for you for the future use. So yeah, that's it. Any questions till this till this point? Okay, great. So that's it from today's session. See you tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. Tomorrow I will be on time. The problem is today when I started my machine, it was not starting properly. There was some Google plugin was not working, and then I don't know what's happening. Maybe my Mac OS has got updated, and with that there are lots of issues. So we'll try to find it out today. I hope tomorrow there will not be any issues. So see you tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. IST, and it will be 9:30 p.m. in USA. So that's it, and see you tomorrow. So for US people, Vijaya, Jamal, and Hima, good night. Have a sweet dreams. Indians, have a great day. Have a great Monday. Signing off. Welcome, everyone.